Thank you for watching. We're back with Rio Grande Foundation President, Mr. Paul Gessing. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll have you back again. Anytime you want.
Great.
Anytime you want, just give us a call. We'll have you back. I like to have people with different variety of opinions. That's how my viewers learn, and I mean that's the whole show. So it's about policy, and we try to adhere to that. I stay away from some of the drama that happens. However, I do enjoy it. I mean, like anyone else. I just don't like.
That.
I don't like being in the middle of it.
I don't like drama either. I like talking about actual policies and how they can be helpful. And these aren't partisan issues per se.
The times are tough, and I think it's a time for seriousness.
Well, Governor Richardson, when he was governor, passed some of the, or he and the Democrats in the legislature, it was Democrat controlled top to bottom, but they enacted some of the most significant pro-growth tax cuts of any state in the country during the decade of 2000s. Yeah. We took our top income tax rate on personal income from 8.2 down to 4.9, also reduced some taxes on capital gains and other taxes. So New Mexico actually did perform very well during that decade. The whole economy, the U.S. economy, was performing better. So these are different times, and it's not something you can just compare Richardson versus Martinez on how the overall state economy was doing. But those tax cuts, I believe, had a very significant positive impact for that time period. And now we've moved beyond that. We had this spurt of growth. We've had some real slowdowns, New Mexico nationally, and we're trying to figure out what to do next. We need to do more than that.
Let's say for theoretically, if we assume like we become a right-to-work state, just say for the sake of a conversation, also we get rid of the income tax. How would you then go to a business and say, well, here it is?
Right.
Was there, or you think there is some other dimensions that are missing there aside from those two things?
Well, that's a good question, and I think that the idea of wooing businesses away from other states and getting into that game is generally not where you want to be. I think that, so I use a baseball metaphor, it's baseball season. New Mexico is the Pittsburgh Pirates, not the New York Yankees. For those of you who don't watch baseball on a regular basis, the Pirates have a low budget. They made the playoffs last year. The New York Yankees go out and they have the biggest budget and they always buy the biggest free agents. New Mexico needs to build through the farm team, through the local guys who want to start businesses, making our business climate attractive for those folks. It doesn't necessarily happen overnight that you get this influx. I mean, there are other states that are right-to-work states. There are other states that have zero income tax. But very few other states have the economy of New Mexico, the beauty of New Mexico, the cultural aspects. We have a lot of great features that we need to embrace and build upon. And I think that there's a lot of people who want to just have the silver bullet. We're going to do X, Y, and Z, and everything's going to be good. Now, Rick Perry in Texas, and I actually disagree with what he's done in this regard, he's got kind of a slush fund where he goes around to businesses and says, we'll give you, X amount of dollars to come down here to our state. No, I think you set up fair, flat, simple, across the board tax and regulatory policies, and that's generally how you get things done. And you be fair to everybody. We have a case down in Las Cruces right now. There's an existing wire manufacturing company, and the local government, the Doñana County Commission, is wanting to give incentives, subsidies to a competing company doing the same exact thing, locating across the street from the existing company. Yeah, a Turkish company, exactly. Yeah. And that's not how you do things. You first and foremost take care of your own and have good policies in place, good services in place, a good educational system for those existing businesses. If other businesses want to come here, great, play by the same rules as everybody else. But this whole idea that government should always be chasing each and every business that comes sniffing. But they're trying though, right, Paul? They're trying, They're trying. They would say that we're trying. We're trying to start from the ground up and build this thing back up. And so we gave a little incentive there, even though the other companies right across from him, Senator Teresa, right? So the whole point is that they would say, we're trying. Right, I understand. And I guess my view of government is that government tends to be more of a hindrance to business at large, whereas they help certain businesses at the expense of others, whether it's existing businesses or average people who are paying the taxes for those subsidies. I'd much rather see government just generally take a hands-off approach rather than being so actively wrapped up in all aspects of economic development. We need to set basic principles, basic policies, and kind of leave it alone.
On the right, I know they would say, well, government doesn't create jobs. That's also unfair, though, because we have a lot of jobs here that are created by the government. They're high-paying jobs, whether it's research or what have you. It would be unfair to say that the private sector, there was some that were attacking private sector when the economy collapsed. Like, well, what happened to them? They didn't come in here and help us out. They kind of pulled over their blankets and went to sleep. So this is what the attitude was on the right, that the private sector did not jump in once the economy collapsed, did not bail us out. Therefore, we are going to remember that going forward. So this kind of creates this vendetta kind of a system in their thinking. So my point is, I think we need to catch the medium road and say, okay, let's compromise with both and see this might function. The film industry, the governor didn't want the film industry here, or at least that was the assumption, that she didn't want them here. They all left, they all packed up and left. Huge income from the film industry. These are all private guys coming in from California, dropping a lot of money. They're getting a lot of incentives, but at the same time, they were employing a lot of people. I know a lot of people that were really affected by it. They had to ship out and move on. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that was fair?
We've been prominent in opposing the film subsidies, and it kind of goes along with government creating jobs. They have to take the resources from somewhere to fund those government positions. The film subsidy in particular, it's not a tax exemption, it's not a tax credit or rebate, it's actually money that comes out of the pockets of other businesses, other taxpayers, 25 cents on the dollar in terms of movies, and then now 30 cents on the dollar in terms of television shows. I've got reams of economic studies from liberal groups, conservative groups, and centrist groups that have said this is a terrible idea. Now the liberals say you're taking money, that would otherwise fund welfare programs, educational programs. Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, notably liberal group, did a very good study on this. Centrist organizations, and of course plenty of conservative organizations. It's the classic seen versus the unseen. Anytime you have money that's being taken from somebody else, uses that they would have in their own lives or in their own businesses, and then shifting it through government fiat to some other business, whether it's the government or the film subsidy, you're going to see the film subsidy. Everyone knows about Breaking Bad. Everyone knows the movies that have been filmed here. What they don't see,
we were getting a lot of money.
but what you don't see is the money that average businesses, average taxpayers could have invested and used those resources to maybe build their own family enterprise, independent of government policies. And I think you lose out on a lot of that.
Unfortunately, I'm almost out of time there. Well, I'll have you back though, because this is something that I think needs to continue.
We could do an entire show on film subsidies.
I know, and there's other stuff out there. We'll have you back. I'll have you back again. Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. That was Paul Gessing from the Rio Grande Foundation.